I think some of the biggest errors people make in relationships is they don't protect their value. People do not protect their value. When somebody sees that you don't protect your value, that is scary. That will scare anybody. If somebody sees you have no ability to protect your value, then they don't want you on their team. You're a liability. You're not an asset.
Hello, Paul. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Beautiful, my man. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Paul, oftentimes I love to thank my guests for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Paul, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, Paul, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Paul, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Paul, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree has got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Paul. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a beautiful experience that day, and I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that
I love
you,
it.
yeah, man, thank you. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Paul that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show, because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, and now you are offering your solutions, Paul. These stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit
You
from
froze
this
for just
beautiful
a second,
things.
Elisha.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
All right, beautiful.
Yep, we're
So,
back.
yeah. So I said, before I sent you the request, I said to myself that I've got to benefit from these beautiful things that Paul is doing. So I've got to say thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said
Of
no,
course.
there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Hey,
Beautiful, man.
I love your perspectives. I love your interest in seeing people develop their fruits, if you will. And that's what I do as well. Absolutely. I teach people, I really believe the thing that would really benefit society most these days is if every individual could learn how to train their mind, how to recognize their own personal value before anything else. Before you eat your breakfast, before you walk out the front door, before you decide what you're going to do for a job, take an inventory of who you are and look at your value. Because I think we cut ourselves down. I think we are so brutal to ourselves. We're so harsh. And I think we run out into the world not really having goals set from our truest self. Maybe we say, well, I want to be rich because it's scary to be poor. Sure, of course it's scary to be poor. But does that mean that you want to be a doctor? Maybe you just heard, well, doctors make a lot of money. I'll go be a doctor because a doctor pays well, it's respectable. But do you want to be a doctor? You know what I mean? So I really think people have to take the time to find out what their interests are and let that be your truth. Let it be your truth, regardless of what your parents think, regardless of what society thinks, regardless of what you think before now, and taking that moment and just dig deep, because the more you start to take inventory of your value, and I mean, really, like it so far what I've said could sound kind of fluffy. Where I get excited is I teach people how to not just be aware of who they are, but how to get excited about it. I love teaching people how to get excited about themselves. I always use the example, here in the US, sometimes guys grew up reading comic books, and sometimes those guys it could be a little nerdy. It could be a little nerdy. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes guys might be like, oh, I don't think I want to tell a girl that I like comic books. I'm going to sound like a nerd. Forget it. Get pumped that you love comic books. You know what I mean? Ask yourself, what things are you into that if somebody said to you, oh, that's stupid, you'd be like, well, I don't care what you think. This is awesome. I love it. And then promote it. Don't hide from it. Don't be afraid of what people are going to judge. Get behind it, stand behind it, and shine with it. Just really get excited about who you are. And when you even though we have terms that make it sound like that's not a good thing to be full of yourself, you should, in a sense, be full of yourself. Not in a negative way, but in a positive way. You should be full of awareness of what you are interested in this life and what you can bring to the table, because then there are going to be other people who will be like, oh, I love comic books too. I just didn't know, I had more friends who like that. And then good things will come from it. Get excited about you. It's like self-marketing is what I say. It's self-marketing. Just like you're going to sell a car or a pen or a TV. You got to market it. You got to find the highlights and you got to sell it. And the first person you sell it to is yourself.
These words are so beautiful, and I can relate so well, my man, because when I activated my potential, when I understood the purpose behind my existence, a whole lot of things changed. I tell you, man. And I love that part where you mentioned, that part where you mentioned that discover your interest and let that be your truth. That is a profound statement, because there are a lot of people who they actually know what they want to do. It ain't their truth yet. So their moms, their dads, their friends have convinced them to do otherwise. So if folks like that get to listen to what you just said, Paul, they might really have a change of mind. I need to let these be my truth. And I must promote it, market it, and just like you mentioned, that's a beautiful one, my man. So let's just get right into it. All right. I want you
Yeah.
to talk to us a little bit about your personal or your professional journey. Because right now we are still curious. All right. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, my man, over
Yeah.
to you.
Sure. So the two things that I work on most in my life are, one, what I call the security method, and it's helping people understand how to build successful relationships, primarily romantic. But the principles carry over to any relationship, whether it's romance, friends, family, work relationships, and as I always come back to, the relationship with yourself. It's how to build that relationship. And I call it the security method because I think some of the biggest errors people make in relationships is they don't protect their value. People do not protect their value. I see not just guys who are nervous about approaching a woman because they haven't really considered what they're bringing to this woman's life as a possibility. But I see men in relationships, married men with kids that have been married for years, and they don't protect their value. And for that reason, when somebody sees that you don't protect your value, that is scary. That will scare anybody. If somebody sees you have no ability to protect your value, then they don't want you on their team. You're a liability. You're not an asset. You're a liability. You're a weak link. That means that anybody can penetrate your barriers, and that's terrifying. But when somebody sees that somebody stands up, like I said, even if it's something as simple as being into comic books, or you love a TV show that came out, no one else liked, you go, I don't care. I think the show is awesome, and I'll tell you why. Episode 2 was the best. Episode 4 wasn't that good, but by episode 5, it came back, and you can back yourself up, and you can stand up for what you believe. Everybody wants you on their team. Everybody wants a piece of that guy or that woman. It's hot. It's hot. And security is what we all need, because the reason security becomes compromised in people is because you don't recognize what you have to protect. That's why. You don't believe you have enough value that you need strong security to protect it. And that's why it's really scary. Not only do others see that you don't have the ability to protect yourself, but they see that you don't believe that you have anything to contribute. And if you don't have anything to contribute, then what are you going to be? You're just going to be a leech. You're just going to be extra weight. And people will be kind to you and sweet to you maybe once or twice if you fall down for a minute, knowing they want to help you get back up. But if they see that you don't truly believe that you have something to contribute to the group, we're still animals, man. We're still animals. We live in a world. If you don't breathe for 30 seconds, maybe a minute, you could die. If you don't drink water for 3 days, you could die. You don't eat food for 2 weeks, you are dead. We have a fight. There is a fight we all have to stay involved in. And we want to live in abundance where we get ahead, where, we don't have to worry about breathing or getting fresh water or food. We forget about those things because we live probably in abundance. But the reality is we live in a world where you have to keep up. You must. And that is ingrained in all of our souls. And if we see someone is on some level a threat to the security of our existence, we're going to phase them out. We're going to, or worse, if we're already in a relationship with that person, a lot of times it gets abusive. That's when it gets, and I don't mean physically per se, but I mean like emotionally, insults, pushing someone away, being rude, being short, being nasty to somebody, because you fear what they bring to the table. But when you know how to bring some value and you believe it, not a front, not a fake, believe it. You believe and you've thought about it and you know why. You know what your values are. You don't say you're a surgeon if you're not a surgeon. Don't lie. But if you know that you know how to speak, or you know how to research, or you know how, whatever it is, and you're like, look, this is what I do. This is my lane. I'm great at it. I want to be on the team because I bring something. Then people are going to want you around. That's a big part of what I do. And I love teaching it to others because I believe society could function so well if we all got excited about who we are. I really do. And it would make me, it's a little bit selfish. I want to walk down the street in a happier world. You know what I mean? I want fewer people yelling at each other. I want fewer people beeping the horn at each other, fewer people getting upset, because if we all felt better about who we are, we'd be much less irritable. We really would.
And that's so true. I totally agree, my man. And thank you for coming up with that wonderful method. So I've got some questions here, all right? So, yeah, what is the key to saving a marriage?
The key to saving a marriage, all right, I came up with the term security method because where it first hit me, if you make sure that one thing you value in a successful relationship is and I'll be very careful with the words, the ability to walk away, then you may never have to. And what I mean by that is that if you protect your value in the sense that you go, I'm with this person because I like them. I'm interested in this person. That's why I choose to spend time, because I enjoy this person. That's great. And you also say, well, if this person ever becomes nasty to me for any length of time, and it can't be corrected, and I try to help it and grow, but this person is horrible to me, well, then I have to leave. And it sounds so simple. It sounds so obvious, but people don't do that. People get into relationships out of need. A lot of people, they're insecure. So they find somebody who has assets that they feel they don't. And having that person around makes them feel more secure. Maybe you're a guy who doesn't feel very attractive or doesn't feel very valuable. You meet a woman who's beautiful and you go, oh, well, if I'm just with this beautiful girl, then men will respect me. Well, now you're not with her because of interest. You're with her because you need her. You need your respect to be based on her looks. So because you need her, you can't know her. You can't. Because all you can know is the need. Because if the need were to cease, then you don't know if you'd have any other value, and you would have to go find someone else to do it. So then the woman gets very insecure. She goes, wait a minute, I think he's just with me for my looks. Well, there are a lot of beautiful women in this world. So if I gain 10 pounds or I get 5 years older or a bad haircut, then another beautiful woman could take my place. Well, now I don't have any security in this relationship. This is terrifying because he's not with me for me. He's with me to serve his own needs. That's scary. But if you say to a woman, no, look, I already know who I am. I stand on my own 2 feet. I'm proud of who I am. I'm with you because I like you. And then she can go, wow, okay, let's talk. What's your favorite ice cream? You know what I mean? You can have fun.
Amazing. I got that. Wow. In that case, oh boy, a lot of people, got into got into the relationship for one need or another. I tell you, and it has even almost become the norms. Has almost become
Yes.
the way of doing things now. I tell you, and it's so sad, man. So let us look at it the other way around. All right. So, what is the fastest way to get over a breakup? Let's say we've got a listener or listeners who are going through, these breakup issues right now. How can they
Yeah.
get over it in the fastest way, if there is something like that?
All right. First of all, I love this question because, breakups are one of the hardest things you'll ever experience in life. If you're the one who's been broken up with, if you got dumped, it's one of the worst feelings because whenever something doesn't go right in your life, people will always try to comfort you. They'll say, don't take it personally. You don't get a job. Something doesn't go your way. Don't take it personally. That's what they say. But a breakup, it's the most personal thing that could ever happen to you. Somebody has gotten to know you better than anybody else. They got to know you, your personality, your traits, your interests, everything about you. And when they finally get a good look, they go, nah, I don't think so. It's the most personal insult you can experience in life. It's very painful. So first off, I would offer, understand, a tremendous amount of the pain related with a breakup is not about the other person not being in your life. It's not that. That is a factor, but it's a very small factor compared to where your pain is coming. Your pain is coming from the idea that you probably have come to believe this person's opinion of your value is greater than your own. That's the problem. Because if you believe this person's opinion of you is more valuable than your own and they've chosen against you, then you have nothing. You have nothing. And this is why people feel empty and they feel vacant. They feel worthless after a breakup because they let their opinion of their own value be decided by somebody else. And that person walked away. Now you have nothing. The first step you have to do is reclaim your ability to determine your own value. You must. This is what led you here in the first place. I assure you, 99% of these breakups wouldn't have happened if you stayed in control of your own sense of value. And this person knew you were at the wheel of your own ship. And you knew, even if they didn't agree with you, that you still felt great about yourself. At least the admiration. You know what I mean? Like most breakups wouldn't happen that way. And I'll go so far, men who get cheated on. Well, I'll be totally real. Because this is when guys do violent things. This is when guys do really bad things. And I understand they're at the end of their rope. They think this person just shafted the whole direction of their life. If a woman cheats on a man, it's mostly his fault. It is mostly his fault. And it doesn't make her a good person. Don't get me wrong. And we don't have a lot of time to get into this. But the idea, it's when you stay in control of your own sense of value. So to answer your question, first thing you do in a breakup, recognize where the feelings are coming from. Bring it back down to reality. Deal with, the person was cute. They were fun to have ice cream with sometimes. Yeah, that's cool. But it's a very small factor. You needed to get control of your own sense of value and begin the inventory. I always tell people the 5s. Start writing 5 things that you bring to a relationship that you believe are valuable. And when I say write 5 things, I mean write 55 things. But narrow it down. The top of the list should be the 5 most important things you bring to a relationship. The 5 most important things that make you excited to be you. In the movie that is your life, that is this world, why is it exciting that you as an actor get to play the character of you? Get pumped, man. You get pumped about you, a lot of other things are going to work out.
That was a great answer. I got that. So finally, my man, hmm,
Yeah.
can you talk to us about emotional wealth? What does that really mean?
Yes. Emotional wealth means it doesn't cost you to give a compliment to someone else. Think about that. A lot of people are not able to do this. When you get intimidated by somebody, when you feel like you're in competition with somebody, you may not want to compliment them because if they feel bigger or look bigger, then it's going to make you look smaller. That means you're emotionally poor. That's what that means. But when you know who you are and you know you've got you covered, and it doesn't mean you're perfect. You're always working on yourself. You're always trying to get bigger and stronger and whatever it is, get better in your pursuits. But you know you're in a good place of building yourself. You have extra energy to share with others. Somebody does something well, you go, hey, that was great. That was great. And it doesn't make you bigger than me or better. You know what I mean? There is no comparison. I'm not comparing you to me. That's not where I get my value. My value is not based on your value. My value is based on my value. So I can grow yours. And that's just good networking, if nothing else. Compliments aren't as
Beautiful.
free as
And
they look to some people.
I tell you, wow, emotional wealth. I got that. So finally, my man, for folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the
Yeah.
wonderful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions, or let's say they want to, utilize the amazing method that you created, the security method. How can that be possible?
Yeah. I appreciate it. So my name is Paul Roseberry. Last name is Roseberry, just like a blueberry, but a roseberry. You can reach me at paulroseberry.com. My email is paul@paulroseberry.com. I'm on Instagram at Paul_Roseberry_. And I would love it. Listen, I do one-on-one coaching. I do, and I'm happy to take people on and work with them as clients. But also, if you just, maybe you don't have the money for coaching right now, you just have a question or two that you'd like answered, email me. Email me. I love to answer questions. I'm also on a podcast called Vent This, and on that, and we'll have you on if you'd like to be on. It's a lot of fun, and we help solve a lot of things. Are more comedic. They're not necessarily relationship based, but we do a lot of relationship questions. So I'll answer your questions on our podcast. I'll give you a verbal answer. Maybe I'll just write you back, but I love to help people. I really do. So reach out to me, and I'll do what I can to help. I love to do it.
Beautiful, my man. So that's going to be the end of the show, Paul. Thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing
Yeah.
this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, man. Thank you.
Elisha, thank you. Thank you, buddy. This has really been great.